Nicaraguan officials in Miami today issued an urgent appeal for blood donors. They said there's an immediate need for 20 to 25,000 pints of whole blood for the victims of Saturday's earthquake in Managua. Other relief supplies are on their way. The United States sending $3 million in food, medicine, tents, purification equipment, and other aid. Looting continued today in what's left of the Nicaraguan capital, with troops doing little or nothing to stop it. George Natanson has today's report from the ruined city.
90% of the city has been utterly destroyed. Even the few tall buildings which do remain will soon be brought down by dynamiting. According to engineering surveys which have been carried out over the past days, there is not a single building in the downtown section safe for occupancy. The city will be leveled, as explained by Nicaragua's former president and now commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Anastasio Somoza.
So the capital, as you now know it, will cease to exist?
That is right. We are going to live in tents until we make an appreciation of the situation and the government will have to decide what they're going to do.
Martial law has been declared. The Army is now in full command of the city and the country. General Somoza is overflying the city in a U.S. helicopter. He will personally direct the demolition operations to level the city. A field hospital flown in by the United States has been set up to care for the many thousands of injured. A mass inoculation campaign is underway to prevent the spread of any epidemic. Typhoid is the most feared. Official estimates of the deaths are placed at about 2,000, but as rescue work continues, this figure continues to mount. Unofficial estimates of the dead are running as high as 5,000. Many of these people have been without a drink of water for 24 hours, without food for more than that. They stand patiently in line at the Red Cross headquarters, waiting for a cup of rice, or flour, or other staple. Bulldozers working through the streets of the city continue to uncover bodies buried beneath the rubble. One family of 3 was found crushed beneath the wreckage, apparently asleep at the time of the quake early Saturday morning. There is no burial for the bodies found. Because of the conditions of the body, they are burned for health reasons on the street where they were found after being doused with gasoline. George Natanson, CBS News, Managua.
The world knows now of this amazing survival on a Chilean mountainside of 16 plane crash victims. 29 others died in that October 13th crash or within the next several days. The passengers were young Uruguayan rugby players, some members of their families, and other fans. Today, the terrible truth was revealed. The survivors had sustained life during their 69-day ordeal by consuming the dead. They said they had reached their decision after long philosophical discussion and a unanimous vote. And one survivor compared their action as similar to a heart transplant, taking from the dead to sustain the living. More than a dozen major banks today raised their prime interest rate for corporate customers from 5 3/4 to 6%. Treasury Secretary George Shultz said he was disappointed at this latest round of interest hikes, touched off last week by First National City, the nation's second.
Managua is the capital city of Nicaragua, located on the southwest shore of Lake Managua. With over 2 million residents, this low-rise city is Nicaragua's largest and the economic and commercial heart of the country. Managua is unusual because it doesn't have the type of city center you'd expect a capital to have. That's because a devastating earthquake shook the city in 1972 and destroyed a lot of the old city. New commercial and residential areas went up on the outskirts of the city instead. Luckily, not everything was completely demolished. The National Palace of Culture, which houses the National Library and National Museum, survived intact. The Rubén Darío National Theater also survived the earthquake and continues to be the most important theater in Nicaragua. The Plaza de la Revolución is at the center of these surviving buildings. There are also some monuments in the square dedicated to national heroes and poets, such as the central gazebo. Managua is unexpectedly green. Before the earthquake, trees were more rare in the city. Afterward, they flourished. The city is difficult for visitors to navigate, and although Nicaragua is one of the safest countries in Central America, Managua is the exception. theft and mugging of tourists is rampant. Although progress is being made to improve the safety of visitors to the city, it is widely recommended that travelers stick to other parts of Nicaragua.